Hey, Wood fam. I don't know if anyone is in here. So, um, and if you're not, that's okay because there's not very many people in the Facebook group. So, if you cannot be here to see this live, then this will be recorded and it will be in the Facebook group. This will not be something that is posted out in the public on YouTube. So this is just for the course and for like the first week of the course um, that we've gone over. So what I want to do is, it looks like we might have somebody. Oh, and then somebody might have left. We got one. Okay. And if we don't have anybody here to ask questions, that's okay. I'm going to pull up hopefully you can still see me. I'm pulling up the table of contents from the week one. All right. So, because all I want to do is talk about the topics from the course from week one so that I can talk about it. And then if anybody has questions, then we can address those in the Facebook group. All right. So and it says week one, but it's not really supposed to be done in a week. Okay. Because that would assume that you do all 7 lessons, 1 lesson a day for 7 days in a row. And I used to call them daily lessons, but they're really not, because it's not meant for you to do 1 lesson a day and 7 days in a row, 28 days in a row for the whole course, because that would just take too much time. These lessons are kind of in depth. And so I understand if you haven't gotten through all 7, even though it's been more than 7 days, it's been more like, I don't know, 10 days or something like that. We'll do 3 more live sessions before this month is over. So I just have to figure out where to get these in. All right. So I'm going to be going back and forth between there just to make sure there's no chats that need to be addressed. So I'm going to move this over here. All right. So the first lesson is, where the grief are you? And so what we talked about in that one is figuring out where you are, where you would like to be, and how you get yourself from where you are today to where you want to be, and the process of getting to that point. Okay. One of the homework assignments is for you to write a letter to yourself, to your future self. And so we talked about that. So hopefully you've at least gone through the first couple lessons. By now, if you're watching this, you've gone through a couple lessons and figured out how the course is laid out, how to find everything. If you haven't started, or if you're confused, or you're not really sure how to log in, or you're having any of those beginning type issues, please email me. You can email me at onehappywidow@gmail.com. And I can help you with that. Sometimes I don't know what you see on your end, because I'm seeing it from the instructor side and you're from the student side. So sometimes there's a little disconnect on where the issue is, but I will keep trying and I will keep working, and I can always figure it out. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to try to figure out like what are you missing and what do you need to be doing and all that stuff. Sorry, I'm going to move this so that's not in the that's my other work. Okay. So in where the grief are you, like I said, it's basically just analyzing, where am I right now in this process of grief, in this journey? Where do I want to be? Where do I see myself? And how long is it going to take to get there? And what steps do I need to take to get from point A to point Z? And you can't just jump, to the happy place. You have to work to get yourself there. All right. And so all these lessons are meant to help you with that. There's another lesson about routines. Okay. So routines is kind of like your safe place. Okay. So routines is, right now, you may be in the routine of grief. Grief might actually be your routine. You get up, you think about your lost spouse. Everything that you do revolves around thinking about your loss and your sadness and your depression and your grief and where you are and your widow status. And so your mind is in that routine of thinking about your grief and your loss. So we're trying to develop new routines that will replace the unhealthy ones and replace them with healthy ones so that you can get to where you need to be. All right. So routines is like the way to do that, because it takes your brain and it trains your brain to work on autopilot. If you have to think too hard about things, then it becomes too much work. Your brain is lazy, and your brain likes to make the shortest path from point A to point B. Also, your brain likes being on autopilot because it takes the least amount of work. And so when you're on autopilot, you just do things without really even thinking about it. It's kind of like when you drive to work, every day, you go on the same route, you don't really have to try really hard to think about which turns to take because you just kind of automatically do it. That's why they call it autopilot. So what we want you to do is we want you to let purpose and or joy become your autopilot, become the things that you do and the thoughts that you have automatically without having to work to get there. But it is a process, and it's hard to do to implement those routines, but once you get them in place, it becomes automatic. What is your why? So what is your why is basically, why, what are the reasons that you want to get better for yourself, for your family, for your animals, for your children, for the community, for the memory of your lost spouse. There's all kinds of different reasons, but obviously, yourself is a big one. You are a person and you're important and you matter and you're still here and you're here for a reason. And if you're not sure what that reason is, then this course is going to help you find out what that reason is. All right. And then there's some journals and some planning. And so, sometimes it's hard to figure out how to put one foot in front of the other until you map it out. And a lot of times, if you will map it out or you plan it out or you write it in a journal or you put it in a planner, it pretty much makes it to where you don't have to think about things as much. We're trying to make things easier so that you can do things without thinking about them. You just think they just become automatic again. And so, and a lot of times if you write something down, it's almost guaranteed that it's going to happen because once you write it down, it's like you're committing yourself to doing it. And so just like if you make a meal plan, when you put a meal plan together, that's 90% of the work. Because now instead of coming 5 o'clock or 5:30 and say, gosh, what's for dinner? I don't know. What do I feel like? What do I have in the kitchen? What can I put together? I don't even know if I have the parts to make a whole meal. If you go ahead and plan out what you're going to eat on Monday, go ahead and put it on your list. Go ahead to the grocery store and get all the things that you need for it. And you know that Monday is spaghetti day. So you already know that when you shop this weekend, you are going to have the meat, you're going to have the sauce, you're going to have the noodles, you're going to have the bread, you're going to have everything, the salad, everything that goes along with the meal of spaghetti. And now you look at your page and, oh, today's spaghetti. You don't even have to think about what you feel like or what you want or what you have. It's already there. So now all you have to do is put it together and make it. So you see how you took so much of the effort out of that. And now it's this meal that's already ready to be eaten. All right. There's mindset training on the first 7 lessons. And if you bought the mini lesson, then these lessons, this 7 lessons is your whole program. Okay. So the mini lesson that you purchased is what I'm talking about today. The other lessons will be part of the full program. And so if you listen to the live sessions 2, 3, and 4 throughout the rest of this month, and you're interested in purchasing the other lessons, then all you have to do is just get in touch with me and we'll work out how you can go about purchasing the rest of the lessons. Since you've already put money in, then it's not going to cost you the whole full amount to get the whole program because you've already got the first out of the 4 modules. All right. So there is a mindset training. So mindset training is basically it's a way of training your brain to be triggered by something besides pain. Because right now, when you get triggered, that means you see something and it triggers your brain to go into grief mode. And then every time you get triggered by that same thing that you see over and over again every day, it becomes easier and easier for you to flip into that grief mode. The triggers, they work better because they're happening more often. So what we want to do with mindset training is we want to flip the switch, turn that trigger off and replace it with something healthy, replace it with something better for you. All right. And so that takes work. You have to work to change everything around. But once you change it all around, it's not as much work. And it'll be just as easy for you to operate in terms of joy and purpose and what you want to do as it is to operate in grief. As a matter of fact, it'll be easier because it's not easy to grieve. I mean, it might be automatic, but it's sure not easy and it's sure not happy. And nobody wants to live in grief for the rest of their life. All right. There's a lesson about setting goals. And so sometimes it's hard to know what to do if you don't even know what you're working for. And sometimes when you're in grief, or even if you're even worse, if you're in like a state of depression, you don't care. Like you don't even want to get better. So we have to change all of that. We start off with mindset training on changing you wanting to feel better. And then we start setting goals so that we do something called SMART goals. And so you set up goals, short term, medium term, and long term goals, so that number one, you will know what you're reaching for. Like, how do you know if you're done with a race if you don't know how long the race is? If you're gonna run a marathon, you know that marathon is over when you reach 26 point whatever miles. Like, but if you're just running and you have no idea how long the race is, then how do you know if you're halfway there or part of the way there or almost there? You're just running aimlessly, right? So we set these goals so that you'll know when you actually get there, and then you can celebrate that accomplishment, and then you can make another goal and another goal and another goal. And if you have long-term goals, you don't want to just start here and end there. You make steps towards that goal. So it's a process. So you got to come up with the plan on what to do to get to the first step towards that goal. And they need to be timely. They need to be measurable. They need to be realistic. So we talk all about that with the SMART goals. That's what SMART stands for, and all those words that we talked about. So to set up your own SMART goals, it takes a little while to sit and think about what you want your goals to be. And then once you can figure out what they are and write them down and you have them in front of you, that makes them more attainable. Once you have a plan in place, it's like, okay, all I have to do is follow the plan and everything will work like it's supposed to work. Okay, so planning and doing is two different things. I'm really good at planning. I'm not so great at doing, but some people, you can't do until you plan. You can try to do, but you're kind of aimless. And so you need to figure out, well, what am I doing this for? Where am I going? I'm just wandering around in circles aimlessly. So setting goals will really kind of it will give purpose to your actions, and it will give yourself boundaries. And anytime you have boundaries, that's where you feel safe. It gives you safety, gives you security, makes you feel like, okay, it gives you confidence. It makes you feel like, okay, I know where I'm going and I know what I need to do to get there. All right. And then the last one for the first module over that first week is a sleep wake schedule. I think a lot of times, even when we're not in grief, depending on what your job is. Your job, actually, we talked about this in the lesson, but your job might, or your children having to get them up for school, might force you to already be on like a normal sleep wake schedule. But for those people who don't have children, or maybe you're not working a regular schedule, or maybe you're your own boss, or maybe you're unemployed and you're on disability, whatever. If you don't have a set schedule and you don't put yourself on a schedule, then your whole sleep wake schedule gets messed up. Okay. And there's a whole bunch of scientific information in that lesson that talks about the physiological or physical, the mental, the emotional effects of not having a good sleep wake schedule, what it does to your health in all kinds of levels. And as much as I hate getting up in the mornings, I am not a morning person. I really don't like getting up. But once I actually do get up and I get myself ready and I get in the shower and I get going, then I'm kind of like on autopilot after that. And I'm like, okay, this is not so bad. I feel okay. But when I'm trying to tell myself to get out of bed in the mornings, I'm like, oh, I just don't want to. I'm trying to talk myself out of getting up. But I know that getting up is the best thing for me. Even though it feels like it would be better to stay in bed and sleep half the day, then by the time I've slept half the day, I feel like, well, what's the use of getting up now? I haven't taken a shower. And if by the time I get up and take a shower, my day is almost over. And what's the point of doing that? So do you see how it all kind of, it kind of snowballs on each other? So that's basically an overview of all of the lessons that's in the first module. If you've been through all 7 lessons, then you are familiar with what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then that's what is in store for you. That's what's coming up for you for the next 7 lessons. So hopefully by the time, let's see, I think we start on the 12th. And it's the 25th. So we're actually almost halfway done with the first month of the Facebook. So I got to double time it on these live sessions. It's been a madhouse with the job and the kids, but I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done. Like, I need to set up a better plan for myself. I need to follow these lessons a little bit better. But so hopefully by now you have at least done the first couple of lessons and done some of the homework and printed out some of the assignments and done those things. Because it's not for me. It's not accountability so that you can tell me what you've done. It's only going to help you. That's why you paid for the course, is so that you could get benefits from it. You're not going to get a benefit out of it if you don't do the lessons and do the homework and write out the things and make the plans and do the, just do all the stuff, do all the things. So if you're stuck on anything, you need a little bit of boost, or you need some advice, or you're confused about how things work or anything like that, I am here to support you. So just email me or come on these live sessions if you're able to, and then we can talk about that in chat. Or if you want to go on the Facebook group, the private Facebook group, and ask a question, I can either answer it then, or I can address it in the next live session. So if there's anything that you want talked about in the next live session, you can put it down there and say, hey, can you talk about this? Can you explain more about that? And things like that. So that's going to do it for the live session for today. We did not have any live participants. And so if you're watching this, you're watching this on the recording. So you can watch this as many times as you want to, but it is private. It's not going to be out on YouTube forever. You can only watch it here with the link. And then once the Facebook group goes away, then this will go away too. So this is just limited time that you'll be able to watch this. So just watch it while you can. And again, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. That's why I made this course, is to help you, not to add more stress to you. All right. So go at your own pace, but, pick up a lesson and do one. Okay. Don't put it off, because it's easy to put it off. Once you get started, you'll realize that it's not really that tough. Just take one lesson at a time. All right. It's just like eating an elephant, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. All right. So that's going to end it for me. And hopefully you get some benefit out of this, or at least get some motivation to get started if you haven't got started yet on your lessons. And like I said, I'm here for you. So just reach out if you have questions or you need support. And I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys.